You are listening to The Vocal Technologist. Spoken tech for your ears.
Imagine moving to this bustling, really vibrant new city.
Oh, sounds nice.
Right. You're walking down the main street, you're looking at the storefronts, watching the traffic flow by. You're just listening to that ambient hum of conversation.
Yeah, just taking it all in.
Exactly. And it all feels completely normal. You grab a coffee, maybe you browse a bookstore, but then you look a little closer and you realize something actually kind of chilling.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. More than half of the people walking past you, the ones browsing the shops, the ones hailing cabs, the ones leaving reviews, they aren't human.
Wow.
They are highly advanced algorithms and androids, basically running errands and having conversations on behalf of the human minority.
I mean, that paints a picture straight out of a dystopian science fiction novel.
It really does.
Usually the premise there involves humans realizing they've been completely outnumbered and, trying to take the city back.
Yeah, but the thing is, for you, the listener, this isn't science fiction at all. If you spend any time online, and let's face it, we all do, whether it's for work or just, trying to buy a new toaster, this is exactly the city you are walking through every single day.
That's entirely true.
So, welcome to the deep dive. Today we are taking this really fascinating stack of recent tech, marketing, and cultural intelligence reports, and we're using them to map out a bizarre new reality.
A very bizarre one.
Right. We are looking at an internet where bots officially outnumber humans, where AI is quietly deciding what we buy behind the scenes, and where, ironically, authentic, messy human judgment has suddenly become the absolute most valuable currency on the entire planet.
It is a massive paradigm shift. I mean, I know it can feel incredibly overwhelming when you're just trying to keep up with the daily pace of technology, let alone restructure how you think about the internet itself.
Oh, for sure. It's exhausting.
It really is.
Yeah.
But once we start spotting the underlying patterns in this data, the chaos actually becomes entirely predictable. There is a clear, trackable logic to what is happening right now.
Which is comforting, honestly.
Exactly. And understanding that logic gives you a massive advantage.
Okay, let's unpack this. Because we need to start with the sheer scale of the shift, which is just the numbers we are looking at are staggering.
They really are.
Yeah, so according to recent data tracking traffic on Cloudflare's network, bot traffic has officially surpassed human traffic online. It now accounts for about 57% of all web page requests.
Over half.
Over half. And the growth rate is what really commands attention here. Traffic from AI agents and what the industry calls agentic browsers is up nearly 8,000% since 2025.
Yeah, and we should probably clarify what an agentic browser actually is, because it's really central to this whole shift.
Please do, yeah.
So, unlike a traditional browser where you, the human, click the links and scroll the pages yourself, an agentic browser acts on your behalf. You give it a goal like, find me the best noise-canceling headphones under $200. And the browser itself navigates the web. It reads the reviews, clicks through different sites, and brings you back a synthesized answer.
That's wild.
Right. And automated traffic like this is growing about 8 times faster than actual human traffic.
Which fundamentally changes the entire business landscape. I mean, we are moving into what the sources call the prompt-to-purchase pipeline.
The prompt-to-purchase pipeline.
The
Exactly.
AI recommendations are actively replacing traditional search behavior. And the impact of those recommendations is just wild. We have a study here analyzing millions of search events, and it found that when an AI platform recommends a brand to a new prospect, that person is nearly twice as likely to actually go search for that brand.
Which is a huge jump.
Massive. And the downstream effects are just as big. They're significantly more likely to visit the website and view its products within a byte.
Right.
To put that in perspective, an AI recommendation has roughly twice the impact of a simple brand mention in a traditional article.
Because visibility alone is no longer enough. I mean, just having your name out there in the digital ether doesn't guarantee traffic anymore.
Yeah, the old way is dead.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
The goal isn't merely to be seen by a search algorithm anymore. It is to earn placement as the explicitly recommended option by these AI systems.
It used to be that building a website was like putting up a massive billboard on the highway for drivers passing by, right?
Yeah, exactly.
You wanted it big, you wanted it bright, and optimized for human eyes, but now it feels like we have to convince the self-driving car's GPS to even route the passenger past our store in the first place.
That is a perfect way to put it.
Because if the GPS decides there's a better route or a better store, the passenger never even sees your giant expensive billboard.
And to push that GPS analogy even further, Brands are currently driving themselves crazy trying to figure out how to program that GPS.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah, developers know these bots are crawling their sites, so they've started creating these neatly packaged text files called ilmaze.txt files.
Okay, what are those?
The idea is to leave a clean, easily readable, jargon-free summary of the website's purpose specifically for the AI to ingest. It's essentially a cheat sheet for the bot.
So it's like leaving a neatly typed resume on your front porch, just hoping the algorithm picks it up and gives you a good grade.
That's the hope, yeah.
But the data shows this is a spectacular failure.
It really is.
An analysis of 137,000 sites found that 97% of these ilms.txt files got absolutely zero readers.
Zero.
And of the tiny fraction that did get read, it wasn't the big AI engines like Perplexity or ChatGPT looking at them. It was mostly just specialized coding agents.
Right.
So the AI simply isn't reading the neatly packaged corporate-approved files that marketing teams are leaving for it.
Well, and if the AI isn't reading the official corporate summaries, it has to be forming its opinions somewhere else. Because, I mean, it clearly has opinions.
Right, it's recommending things.
Exactly. It is actively recommending certain software over others, certain shoes over others. So where's it getting that? It is scraping the messy, highly opinionated, user-generated corners of the web. It is looking for the texture of real human conversation.
You know, this actually makes total sense when I think about my own behavior. Over the last year or two, I found myself constantly adding the word Reddit to the end of my Google searches.
Oh, everyone is doing that now.
Right, because I didn't want the SEO-optimized article written by a marketer. I wanted to read a thread of real people arguing about which vacuum cleaner actually works.
Yes.
And the AI is doing the exact same thing, just at scale. So there's a study of 20,000 ChatGPT responses that looked at what happens to product recommendations when you toggle web search on versus off.
Okay, what happened?
The recommended products changed by a massive 80.2% when search was enabled.
Wow, over 80%.
Yeah. That tells us the AI isn't just relying on its underlying training data. It is actively pulling from the live, messy web content that it can cite right now.
And we see this heavily in the business-to-business world as well.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. Currently, 71% of B2B buyers are using AI for research before making a massive software purchase.
That's a huge number for big corporate purchases.
It is. And when you look at where AIs like Perplexity and ChatGPT are getting their answers for these B2B recommendations, they're increasingly citing G2 reviews, which is a peer-to-peer review site over traditional search engine results.
Making it about the human element again.
Exactly. Perplexity cited G2 reviews nearly 24,000 times in a recent sample. They want that fresh customer feedback to justify their answers because it mimics that Reddit search behavior you just mentioned.
Here's where it gets really interesting and honestly a little alarming.
Uh-oh.
We tend to trust these AI answers because they sound so authoritative.
Very confident.
They spit out a response with perfect grammar, bullet points, and absolute confidence. But if they are heavily weighting user-generated content, they become incredibly vulnerable.
Oh, extremely vulnerable.
The research shows that a single 13-word snippet on a site like Reddit or Quora can completely shift an AI's output, making it repeat literal spam-like claims.
13 words. That's all it takes.
Yeah. So aren't we just building a high-tech, multi-billion-dollar echo chamber for internet gossip?
Well, what's fascinating here is the underlying mechanism of how that vulnerability actually functions.
Okay, tell me more.
It really comes down to how AI evaluates trust, which is very different from traditional search engines. In the old SEO days, trust was about broad authority.
Like getting big links.
Right. If the New York Times linked to your website, you were deemed trustworthy across the board. AI, however, relies on topical authority.
Topical authority.
Yeah, it pulls from a highly specific, different set of trusted sources for every single niche topic.
Interesting.
So if the AI is determined that a specific subreddit is the ultimate authority on, say, mechanical keyboards, then a 13-word comment in that specific forum carries disproportionate massive weight.
So it's hyper-localized trust. The AI is basically treating that specific forum as absolute gospel.
Yes. And savvy companies have figured out exactly how to game this mechanism.
Of course they have.
They don't try to manipulate the AI directly. They manipulate the sources the AI already trusts.
How does that even work?
The playbook looks like this. A brand will run paid media, like standard Facebook or Instagram ads, specifically to test out different messaging and copy. They throw a bunch of variations at the wall to see What exact phrasing clicks with human buyers?
Okay, that's standard marketing.
But once they identify the winning phrase, they don't just use it in more ads. They pay influencers, or they use community managers, to inject that exact language into those highly trusted Reddit communities, YouTube comment sections, and review sites. They seed the ecosystem.
Oh, wow. So the AI scraper comes along, reads those seeded Reddit threads, sees what looks like organic consensus using that specific phrase, and absorbs it.
You got it.
Then, when a user asks the AI for a recommendation, the AI presents that seeded marketing language as objective truth.
That is the exact loop. They engineer the organic conversation so the AI will confidently report it back to the end user.
That is wild. I mean, if AI is treating random internet threads as absolute truth, and brands are systematically seeding those threads, it's no wonder the internet is filling up with synthetic garbage trying to game the system.
It is getting very polluted out there.
And humans are clearly noticing the pollution.
Right.
Just look at TikTok. According to the data, 59% of the videos served to a brand new TikTok account are AI-generated slop.
Almost 60%.
That is almost 3 times the rate of YouTube. More than half the content a new user sees is entirely fake. And because of this, humans are aggressively changing how they interact, how they buy, and who they give their trust to.
Yeah, consumers are now demanding what the industry calls a validation layer.
A validation layer.
Because the digital environment feels so compromised, buyers require an authentic human touch point before they take action.
Makes sense.
They might see an ad, or they might get a seemingly perfect AI recommendation. But before they actually open their wallet or sign a contract, they hit pause. They actively hunt for real, lived experiences to reduce their risk.
And we are seeing this validation layer reshape every single sector. I mean, in the high-stakes B2B world where people are buying enterprise software, safety is completely beating superiority.
Absolutely.
A staggering 81% of deals are going to vendors that are already familiar to the stakeholders.
Wow.
Yeah, even if a new vendor has an objectively better product or a drastically lower price, buyers are 3 times more likely to choose the heavily recommended familiar option.
It's just too risky otherwise.
Right. In fact, 40% of deals just stall out completely because the buying group is terrified of making a mistake.
Yeah.
The cost of trusting the wrong digital information is just too high.
And we can observe the exact same psychological mechanism in everyday consumer goods, just expressed a little differently. Well, a series of experiments looked at how people perceive products based purely on how ingredient lists are framed. If you take a product like a granola bar and explicitly market it as having few ingredients, choice rates increase by 21.6%.
Just from that one phrase.
Yep. Click-through rates on digital ads for that product jump by over 40%.
Why such a massive jump just for saying few ingredients?
Because in an era of intense information overload and synthetic content, simplicity acts as a cognitive shortcut for honesty.
Oh, that makes a lot of sense.
People associate few ingredients with being natural, healthy, and unprocessed. They're basically applying a desire for digital purity to their physical purchases.
So what does this all mean? If we step back and look at the TikTok AI slop, the B2B buyers retreating to familiar legacy brands, and this sudden urge to buy granola bars just because they only have 3 ingredients.
Right.
It seems like the more synthetic and automated our digital world gets, the more aggressively we crave the organic. We are completely overwhelmed by the digital equivalent of ultra-processed food, so we're all out here looking for the digital equivalent of a farmer's market.
I love that analogy.
A place where you can look the person in the eye and know exactly what you are getting.
And the smartest brands are recognizing that this farmer's market dynamic, real grounded community, is the only place left on earth with friction-free trust.
Yeah.
A perfect example of adapting to this is the dating app Hinge.
Hinge? Really?
Yeah. Their target demographic is Gen Z, a group that is notoriously skeptical of traditional marketing, hyper-aware of digital manipulation, and interestingly actually spends about 1,000 fewer hours a year connecting in person than previous generations did.
Oh, wow. 1,000 hours.
So how does a digital app build trust with an audience that distrusts the digital world? They launched an initiative to give away millions of dollars in grants to fund in-person grassroots social groups.
Like what kind of groups?
Run clubs, pottery classes, community gardens.
So they are a digital tech company actively funding offline physical meetups.
Yes.
And the crucial detail in the report is that they don't even require the people attending these groups to download the Hinge app.
Not at all. They are literally funding the social infrastructure that their users depend on. They are building the physical farmers market.
That's brilliant.
By fostering genuine human connection without a direct digital string attached, they earn a level of brand credibility that no amount of SEO optimization or AI manipulation could ever buy. They know that when those people eventually do decide to use a dating app, they will choose the brand that feels human.
That is a brilliant strategy for a low-trust environment. But, this brings up a huge tension for the people actually building this digital world.
Oh, absolutely.
We have an internet overrun by bots. We have consumers desperate for authenticity and human connection. So how is this affecting the actual humans whose job it is to navigate this mess?
Nice cuff.
What is happening to the modern worker who has to operate inside this paradox?
It is triggering a profound identity crisis in the workplace. There is an enormous, heavily documented stigma around using AI to do your job.
The stigma is real.
The Atlassian research on this is incredibly telling. They ran a controlled experiment where people evaluated the work of their peers. If a worker disclosed that they used AI to help complete a task, their peers rated them 10 times lazier.
10 times lazier.
10 times. Furthermore, they were 24 percentage points less likely to recommend that person for high-visibility projects.
And the absolute kicker of that study, which blew my mind, was that this massive penalty was applied even if the actual output, like the quality of the final work, was completely identical to someone who didn't use AI.
The quality of the output didn't matter in the slightest. The mere admission of using the tool triggered a moral penalty.
A moral penalty. Wow.
It touches on how we value labor. In knowledge work, we tend to value the sweat, the visible effort and critical thinking it takes to produce something. When AI removes the sweat, peers feel cheated, even if the result is perfect.
That is so human.
It is. And yet, workers are totally trapped because they are facing a severe critical thinking gap right now. A recent report highlighted that 9 out of 10 marketing professionals cannot actually explain the strategic reasoning behind their own decisions.
9 out of 10.
They know how to execute tactics, but they lack the foundational judgment.
And while these experienced professionals are struggling to explain their strategy and, hiding their AI use, they are actively being outpaced by 19-year-olds.
Exactly.
The sources point out that AI is completely flattening the skill gap. What used to take a decade of trial and error to learn is now instantly accessible.
It levels the playing field completely.
These younger creators don't have years of corporate caution weighing them down. They have native internet instincts. They grew up online, they intuit the culture, and they just take massive risks and ship things without overthinking it.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, it reveals the exact trap the modern worker is in. To keep up with those 19-year-olds and to match the breakneck speed of an internet dominated by bots, you absolutely must use AI to augment your workflow.
You don't have a choice.
Right. Manual output cannot compete. But if you tell anyone you used it, or if your work even feels like AI, you are penalized, labeled lazy, and you lose all trust.
Wait, so to keep up with the 19-year-olds and the speed of the internet, you have to use AI. But if you tell anyone you used it, you're penalized. How do you actually win in this environment?
So instead of strapping a jetpack to a broken process just to generate more content faster, the solution is to treat AI as invisible infrastructure.
Invisible infrastructure.
It's a shift from using AI to being AI first. You don't use it to do the thinking for you. You use it to clear the path so your human judgment can shine through faster.
I'm thinking of tools that operate entirely in the background.
That is exactly the distinction. Let's look at Granola.
Okay.
It's an AI note-taker that recently hit a $1.5 billion valuation. The market is absolutely flooded with AI meeting bots. Those plunky avatars that join your Zoom call as a participant, announce they are recording, and generally annoy everyone in the room.
Oh, I hate those things.
Everyone does. Granola took an entirely different AI-first approach. They record the audio silently at the operating system level. There is no bot intruding on the human connection of the meeting.
That's a relief.
But more importantly, the AI doesn't just automatically generate a generic transcript. It requires the human to jot down lightweight, customized notes based on their own subjective judgment of what mattered in that meeting.
Okay, so you still have to pay attention.
Exactly. Then the AI takes those human-selected signals and expands them into a polished, comprehensive summary.
Ah, I see. So the human provides the taste, the judgment, and the critical context. The AI just acts as the infrastructure, removing the friction of having to type it all out perfectly.
The human provides the signal. The AI handles the noise.
That's brilliant.
That is how you survive the workplace identity crisis. You don't compete with the bots on sheer volume. You leverage the bots to amplify your authentic human judgment.
Wow. We have covered an immense amount of ground today.
We really have.
We started by walking into an internet where bot traffic is growing 8 times faster than human traffic, fundamentally turning search algorithms into prompt-to-purchase pipelines.
Huge shift.
We saw how easily those AI algorithms can be manipulated by a single 13-word Reddit comment, and how companies are actively seeding those forums to engineer truth.
Which is still terrifying.
It is. We explored the massive human backlash to this synthetic noise consumers demanding the validation of real communities and the digital equivalent of a 3-ingredient granola bar.
Yes.
And finally, we looked at the tightrope modern workers have to walk, caught between the stigma of using AI and the absolute necessity of leveraging it as invisible infrastructure just to survive.
It's a tough balance.
So, what does this all mean for you, the listener? Whether you are a decision maker agonizing over B2B software, a consumer trying to dodge TikTok slop, or a professional trying to stay relevant in your career, remember that in a world drowning in automated noise, your critical thinking, your taste, and your messy, authentic human judgment are your absolute biggest advantages right now.
Absolutely.
Protect them fiercely.
And as you navigate this new landscape, this raises an important question to ponder. We know bot traffic is surging. We know humans are increasingly using AI to write content. And we know that very same content is then being scraped by other AIs to answer questions for other people.
Right.
If this loop continues uninterrupted, how long until we humans are just the minority spectators on an internet that is entirely talking to itself?
That is a haunting thought to leave on. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. Keep exploring, keep questioning, and the next time you walk down that bustling digital street, pay very close attention to who or what is actually doing the talking.
Spoken Tech, for your ears.